welcome back to the channel. If you are new, you can catch up on the previous 7, I think, or is it 8 installments on the Imola build, and then you can come back and you'll be up to date with it. So you join me here. This is the replacement engine of the replacement engine. So the donor car, I didn't ask the question or whatever, it's actually a 150 bhp, 180. So the TT Shop Blackburn have sorted me out with a 180, so that's here. So I need to go through the process again of separating the engine and gearbox, because obviously we've got a new dual mass flywheel, clutch plate, thrust bearing, and the other thing that goes with the clutch. So whilst I'm separating this, because you've already seen it 2 installments ago, me taking off the gearbox, I don't need to see that again. So whilst I'm cracking on getting these bolts off, I will pass you to the last week me. So in terms of the rear spoiler, as you can see, I painted that to match the fuel cap, but that's not what we're going to discuss. So because this was originally red, it obviously was going to need colour changing, and as you've seen on previous videos, I do like to take off the spoiler and have it resealed. So I did have a conversation recently with somebody, and they were saying, well, what about running sealant across the top here? So I will cut to the video of when I took off this spoiler of this and show you why it always needs checking. So I've had a couple of days of rain, so I've just opened the boot lid up, the donor boot. So yeah, you can see there's some water. And obviously I haven't put any lights in there or anything, but a couple of options you've got. You need to take that off, that'll act as a drain. I think that little plastic thing needs to come off. And it looks like somebody's had paint on this before, because that's not been masked up. It's not a big issue, but it's just one of those things. And there's another one of the tabs there, so you can just take them off, get a little flathead screwdriver and pop them off. But I'm going to be taking the spoiler off, because that needs resealing. And if you're going to do it, you're going to do it properly, right? Now sometimes these are stuck on pretty tightly, so all I've done is I've undone the 4 bolts. I've not even done anything to it, and look at that, off it comes. Well, I think it's fair to say that's damp, and that one sheared. That one must have been the one that's suffering the most. Well, I'll have to see if I can get the other one off the other boot lid. So as you can see, it was awful there. So if you were to run sealant across the top side of the spoiler, just leave it as it was and say, oh well, you know, got a bit of water in there, fine, you can do that. But what you're then doing is you're sealing in the water, the potential rot and all the rest of it. So simply put, just do it properly. Get it cleaned up, get it sealed, get it knuckled down. Otherwise, underneath will be exactly what you've just seen. So we'll see how I'm getting on with getting the gearbox off. So this project is brought to you by sponsored and supported by the TT Shop in Blackburn. They supply all second-hand parts for Mark 1 and also now Mark 2 vehicles as well. So if you're looking for wings, they've got plenty of those in stock in all a variety of colours, all very varying conditions, so ones that you can prepare yourself, some that are ready for paint. If you're looking for engines, gearboxes, new glass for your broken doors, right the way through to door cards, rad packs, an abundance of transfer boxes, more gearboxes, a blowing exhaust or a downpipe. Or if simply you just want to buy a car that runs, that you want to do as a project, they also have vehicles available to do that as well. So get in touch with them. I'll put a link in the description for the TT Shop in Blackburn, and also you will receive a 10% discount if you use the code Imola10, which is here somewhere. So get in touch. That discount only applies to actual parts, not postage and packaging. So obviously if you're going to take an engine, then that'll be a separate charge. But get in touch with the guys down at the TT Shop Blackburn, and they will be more than happy to assist you with your requirements, whether that be used parts or just a car to work with. Thank you very much to the TT Shop Blackburn for supporting and sponsoring this project. Now, back to the car. So as part of the process, and again, I always need a little bit of something to take my mind off. rusted bolts. So instead of doing what I normally do, which is paying to get my wheels refurbed, I come across this. It's the Tt alloy wheel repair kit. I think it's like 30 quid or something. But I'm going to see if it's actually any good, because obviously normally you pay, I don't know, just for powder coating on your wheels, it's maybe 50 to 100 pound a wheel, or you can get the really cheap ones done for 200 quid or something. So this just under 40 pounds to do 4 wheels seems like an easy punt for me. So if you look at the wheel itself, so I've already started washing it down, but yeah, you can see there's some marks here around the edges, a little bit on there. This wheel's not too bad, so I'm going to get this warning brake dust stuff off. So I'm going to carry on cleaning up the wheel, and then we'll come back to it once I've got it cleaned up. Now, depending on what it is that you're trying to achieve, I mean, obviously for me, I'm going for a colour change, so where it's really ingressed like that, I'm just going at 120 grit to get it off. So you can see there that it's taking the paint off, but I'm not bothered, because I'm going to sand it right down. Then it's going to need primer, and then in the kit it also comes with some filler stuff as well. So here these have started to become a bit smoother as I'm going over them, and yeah, it's just a case of carrying on. It is something that takes a lot of time, but to be honest, oddly it looks better already, even though it's all scuffed up and paint missing off it. So we are 1 hour into wheel 1. I did these harsh areas with 150 grit, just because like I said before, I'm changing the colour anyway. So going around the wheel, you can see there where it's gone down and up in there. So then after that I've gone over it with 2000 grit, which is a big jump from 150, but all these surfaces are now a lot smoother. So I'm just going to go over it once more just to make sure it's all smooth, and then get it dried off, and then try that filler stuff for these little dents. But they're not that big, to be honest, but I think it's just like car filler, where you in a body filler, where you just put it in, let it dry and then sand it down. So we'll see anyway. So that's the putty on. I've got to wait for that to go off now, and then you sand it down. I've got a little section there I need to get covered off, and one there, but otherwise I think I've got most of them. Yeah, so this DIY repair kit for alloys, I just put too much putty on, so it's a long time sanding, but it's good practice for the next time around. But yeah, I think it was £38 for it, and it comes with a variety of colours, but obviously this is the same colour I'm using on the rest of the car. So you can see there, it's a metallic. So that'll be nice when it's done, and we'll, just for fits and giggles, we'll have a look and see what it looks like with the centre cap on. Is it a perfect job? No, I mean, yeah, I haven't even polished that, but the centre cap's got its layer of clear on, the wheel hasn't yet. So when I finish sanding this off, I'll get it masked off, and then I'll paint it again. But I quite like that. I'll get a closer look there, and again, you can just see the metallics and the pearls in the paint. Like I said, it's not perfect, but for a DIY job for the sake of 38 quid, because I think to get your wheels powder coated is roughly about, not powder coated, is it powder coated? Yeah, well, refurbed anyway, and then get them powder coated is usually about 200 quid, I think. So this is, I say replacement turbo. I don't think there's anything wrong with the turbo that's on the engine, but this one I'm told is better because it has KO4 internals. That means absolutely nothing to me, but it might mean something to you guys. So this is a turbo that's going to be going on. Here we go, and that's half knocked off now. That other side of the nut should just come off with a hammer and the big screwdriver. And that's it, in half. Voila. one cut rusted nut. If you see that very well, there we go. So now it should just be a case of out you go, and there it is, and it's out. Obviously I'm not reusing that, but that's off now. Leave the drop link on for now. Get this caliper off so we can look at what all that rust is on the back of here. Well, I think it's fair to say that's definitely been closed off for 10 years. If we take a look inside, yeah, that is refurbing, but they are cheap enough to buy second-hand in better condition. So I shall see what Audi Lee has to offer. But yeah, I just don't see any value in going through the time and effort of sanding it, cleaning it. That nipple, I did actually get it off outwardly, which is better than a V6. But yes, yeah, there's no point. That's going to take too much time to clean that up. The carrier, that's loose as well now, so I'll get that off. That'll be worth cleaning and painting because, well, it's carrier, it's not a big issue. So my inner tie rod removal tool has arrived, just been delivered, which is good. So I can't take this control arm off because two of the bolts are a bit seized on the subframe. The subframe on the donor's actually got a hole underneath it. I'll flash a picture of that now if I get a chance to take one. So as you can see, yeah, that's of no use. So what I've done is, so far we've chopped the bolts for the inner tie rods on both sides. So you see me do the passenger side one. Here's one I did earlier. Similar principle. So that's off. So this subframe is actually solid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that off. Get the one off on that side. Just come up a bit. That one there. Pull that off and then expose the funny shaped bolt for the tie rod. Get those off because I can't put the engine back in the car, which is not ready to go back in, but I can't do it without getting that sorted. And also this here is the power steering line. So as you can see, again, like everything else on the car, it's a bit crusty, but it's solid except for here. So right here is a leak. So getting some advice, that's the low pressure side. So I should be able to just replace a small section of pipe across here, and then that should be fine. So yeah, all good. So let's get these rubbers off. So this was the tool I bought to take off the tie rod end, and it made absolutely no sense whatsoever because I don't know how you put something in there to then lock it down. I don't know. So anyway, went to my local shop, got a 12-inch adjustable. That's loose now, see? So yeah, forget what I said about the special tool, just a 12-inch spanner will get that loose for you. So we'll get that off and we'll get the other. So that's the passenger side tie rod end tied in for the time being. I've used this old rubber because I need to order some new ones, but that will keep that protected, which is good. And then that's the new tie rod end. I just need to make sure which one's for the left and which one's for the right. All fun. So let's get that figured out. So that's the passenger side tie rod end tied in for the time being. I've used this old rubber because I need to order some new ones, but that will keep that protected, which is good. And then that's the new tie rod end. I just need to make sure which one's for the left and which one's for the right. All fun. So let's get that figured out. So because I chopped the other one, trying to get that rubber boot off because I thought, oh, I measured it up against that, but obviously it's going to have to go for wheel alignment. But here's the new piece of hardware, so just scroll that way back up. And now this one, move the disc out of the way. Help if I didn't still keep trying to hold this box on. There we go. Take that off, put you there, and then just wind it on. Like I said, I'm just going to put it on. So that's it, a little bit of a wiggle, and it's in. Get my nut from my secret stash place. In fact, I'll just clean up the top of that first. Should have done that really, shouldn't I? Of course I will get that tightened, but I just wanted it done behind where the engine goes, because all of this I can undo and put back on, but I needed that inner bit done. So that's on, that can be adjusted, take it off, clean the hub or whatever, but job done, so I'll get the other side done. So that I've twisted all the way around just to check it's on. I can see that, and I'm looking at it on the camera just there. So the grinder's ran out of battery, which is unfortunate. So yeah, I'm gonna have to get it charged and finish cutting that off. So the end's on, and now I'm just cleaning up this excess rubbish, and then I'll put some tough black on this, future-proof it, and then that will be tie rod done. So I'm just going to hit that with some rust converter. I've masked up the disc, give it a little squirt. That's fairly cleaned up. All right, let that dry. Let it dry, and then I'll put the tough black on there, and then that should future-proof it somewhat a little bit, which is good. Bonus. So lights, I think they go well with the spoiler. Oh, move my keys, Allen keys. So there we go. And then we've got the same paint that's on the wheels. Also here, I can try and get a good view for you. There we go. So that's all been lacquered already. It just needs a proper polish now, cutting polish. Fuel cap, same again. That's going to need a touch-up, annoyingly. Boot lid we know about. And then this one here is also in the same colour. Door handle. And then finally, the wing mirror. The grille, again, is also the same paint. I quite like that, but that's definitely going to be Marmite for people. Yellow rings the same colour as the car. So yeah, but again, I think that black just looks a lot better. Lower grills, again, same, and then the back ones I've done colour of the car. So that's got a base coat on it at the moment, the bumper. But I'm quite happy with it. So it's coming along. So I'm going to wait for this rust converter to dry, put a couple of layers of the tough black paint on there, and then yeah, put that tie rod back in. So on the next video I'll show you that when it's finished, just so you can see what it looks like. I've only got a couple of bolts left to get off the engine and gearbox, as the underneath ones, but it's a bit late in the day now to get the hoist out to lift the engine off the floor to get those two bolts out, so I'll get those done. The gearbox should be separated from the engine in the next video. And then we'll be looking at doing the cambelt, water pump, and flywheel and clutch, and then that should be then ready to go in. So the next video should be engine going in the car, and then putting everything else together, because this engine didn't have an ECU, so I've had to buy an AR-wire ECU. Fortunately, it came up for sale, and it had the key and the dash. For some reason, they sent the steering column as well. But I've got a key that's coded to the ECU for that engine. So again, I'm going to have to do that job of swapping the key fobs around again. But again, it's not a big problem. Change the clocks again. But I have been told there's a problem with the temperature gauge on the new to me clocks I've purchased, which again is not a problem. I'll get that sent off to Sean Blanco. Once I've put it all together and got the car started and running, then I can just take them out and send them off. But it's just now getting it running, so hopefully in the next video we shall be going for a start. fingers crossed. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye for now.